USFL MVP and New Jersey General KaVontae Turpin will join us in about 20 minutes. Outkick 360 rolls on. The headlines today: Roger Goodell, he was sworn in and gave a deposition to the United States House Committee, Oversight Committee this morning. The biggest news from this morning involving the report and then the look-in and investigation through the House Committee was not really Goodell. It's that Daniel Snyder will receive a subpoena that's expected to then testify next week in front of the House Oversight Committee. So we'll see what comes of that. Other than that, two headlines from Goodell in regards to the workplace environment or lack thereof with Washington, Paul. First being, he acted like he didn't know who Dave Portnoy was from Barstool. And
who?
Yeah, I don't know who that is. And
great reference.
And the other being that he has no power to oust Daniel Snyder alone. And for some reason, that's the headline because I guess people don't realize it takes 24 of 32 owners to actually make that happen, not one commissioner.
Yeah.
Well, people are confused because Donald Sterling was forced to sell.
Yeah, he needed a better framed question there, like would he be willing to initiate the procedure to remove Dan Snyder or something like that. We could have gotten, seen what he did to evade that question or how he answered that question. He doesn't have the power to remove him, so that was pretty much a yes or not a yes or no question, but he gave the appropriate answer for that. Be very curious to see how Snyder. I don't think Snyder's going to come across well at all. He's just kind of a weaselly guy.
By the way, the NBA requires 75% to force a sale as well. They got that vote from owners. Just looking at the report, so it's not like Adam Silver. I was like, really, Adam Silver ousted.
I think the difference here is the NBA owners are willing to do something about it for the image of the league, and the NFL owners they won't. It is a country club. They're not going to out one of their own. They're not. I just don't see it happening. Unless it's something so bad that, it tarnishes their own brand. They just think that one team having a bunch of issues like this is not big enough to tarnish the entire league.
Yeah, if they were going to do it, we
would have seen it, right?
Started
at least I
something.
think we would have.
The only thing we saw was one report that there was some hand counting going on. I think that was Jarrett Bell that said that, and then there was no real. All of the follow up was of that was that no, there wasn't.
But that was only brought about because of the skimming off the top in regards to the sharing of attendance and ticket sales
when it got financial as opposed to reputational.
Right.
That was that took it to another level, and I think other owners are probably more pissed off about that than the other stuff.
Also, to the defense of it's weird I'm saying that.
You love Danny. You've always loved
Daniel Snyder. No, but Paul, you said he's a little weaselly and he's not going to come across well. I don't know a human on the planet that would come across well if having to answer publicly to all these things.
Oh, but
right?
But if
it's his own
ranking,
doing. But there's no way when people are you're getting badgered with questions about every bad thing you've done from a business owner standpoint throughout time. I don't know anyone who's going to stand up there and come across that well.
I'll say this.
In that moment.
You can have good posture and have your suit hanging well and be tailored and look the part. He didn't look the part. He's hunched over. His beard is off. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
He could stand up straight and say, "I plead the fifth," every time they ask a question. That's how he could look good.
Well, he could look like a guy doing it in the movies, or he could look like a guy doing it who stepped out of a place in disarray, and he looks like the latter.
He will, yeah.
Looks like I just got back from Europe. That's what he's going to look
from
like.
the coast of France.
Well, he doesn't look good.
He may not. But,
I was vacationing in the Mediterranean.
So there's the assumption that he's going to be there. That's not. I should qualify.
It could be a Zoom.
It could be
it's probably
just socially
be a Zoom.
because they were going to accommodate him in France today, had he agreed to go in front of the House
Snyder.
committee. So who knows? Who knows?
Comment ça va?
What if he pulls a Sosa and acts like he speaks French and needs an interpreter?
That'd be great, though, if all the congressmen and women who talked to him just started with, first off, bonjour, and for my first question, they just try to connect with him. How's the water there? Is it cool this time of year? You having fun?
Instead of yes, he says we.
Can you bring me back one of those mini Eiffel Towers? I always wanted
He's smoking a Virginia Slim.
Yeah.
I'd like an ornament for my Christmas tree.
Sir, can you put out your heater for a second while I'm asking this question?
He's painting a portrait of some mountain
got a glass
wearing a beret.
He's got a glass of white wine and a cigarette in one hand the whole time.
And the beret.
A Merlot.
I could also see Daniel Snyder on Zoom next week when he does this, just eyeing someone down in front of him that's his attorney that's like trying to dictate to him what to say to the questions.
See,
you can see him clearly on camera, looking over the top of the camera to get his cues from someone off camera.
I could see him failing to make
on
eye
October
contact.
4th, 19, they're holding up a teleprompter for him.
I could see him failing to make eye contact with the camera at all times.
Sir, can you tell whoever is off screen right now to come on camera with us also?
So we have seen and watched awkward moments in sports history take place in front of the House Oversight Committee. You know, like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, Rafael Parmel.
The most awkward moments in sports have happened in two places. Congress and the ESPYs. Those are the two most awkward places for sports moments.
I'm telling you, I know you guys may completely agree. This has a chance to win the moment of most awkward moment.
I think it'll be horrible.
There have been some cringeworthy moments. Palmeiro, Sammy Sosa, all of a sudden not being able to speak English. That comes to mind.
The decision was bad.
Yes. This has a chance, no matter how little this guy wants to say, the awkwardness of the moment may be just more than cringeworthy. And we don't know the details of when this takes place next week. All we know is that the chairwoman said that she will be attempting to issue a subpoena to force him to appear in front of the House Oversight Committee. Financially, a bit of a surprise, I would say, based on just how adamant some have been in the world of crypto. There are cryptocurrencies, they've crashed in value since late last year. And the fallout features some high-profile deals between teams and crypto. For instance, FTX suspended talks with the Angels. They were talking about having a patch on the LA Angels jersey uniform. They've suspended those talks. The Washington Wizards had a patch deal between a cryptocurrency and their organization. That's been taken away. Don't forget, Staples Center is no longer Staples Center. It's now crypto.com or whatever. Yeah. So like there are, and it's going to cost them $135 million. Now I take that back. To crypto.com would have to pay $385 million to now pull out of the naming rights deal of the arena in Los Angeles, where the Lakers, Clippers, Kings, and Sparks currently play.
We said when we were out there, I remember having a conversation in an Uber. I said, do we think this could last? Like, this seems like the most boomy, busty thing in
I
the
don't
world.
understand
and we
it.
see all these banks change their names or get bought and sold who don't last on arenas. I can't see that name lasting, I said. It just seems, and I'm not a crypto guy. I don't know much about it at all, but it just seems too volatile to have a lasting deal with something like an arena.
Well, there are always these things that people get really rich off of, an idea, an investment, or something. And I'll look back and think, man, I wish I was smart enough or bold enough to have put money into that idea or done something with that and capitalized. The whole crypto craze is one that even if people got rich off of it or get rich off of it, I'm not going to envy that at all because I do not, A, understand it, B, think that it has any lasting value. And this crash is starting to cement that for me, but I don't know enough about it to invest in it. But it's also one of those things that even if people get really rich off of it, I'm not going to look up and think, man, I should have done something with that.
I'm fine with cash money. So Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, CoinJournal.net released this grid, this spreadsheet, and Trevor Lawrence is on here, so I want you to hit this point. But this is through Bitcoin, the crypto Bitcoin. And there are a number of athletes who have invested or have had their contract or portion of it turned into or paid through Bitcoin. And this is where Trevor Lawrence comes in.
Well, so Barstool had a headline, Trevor Lawrence turned his $24 million signing bonus into $9 million by getting it all in crypto. First off, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't believe any team is paying anybody in crypto. You're getting paid in dollars. Now, if you want to take your bonus and convert it into crypto, you can do whatever you want with it. But do I believe a professional team is going to a crypto bank and converting your $24 million bonus into crypto for you? No.
Well,
I think your agent's doing it for you if you want.
Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr., whenever he was traded, or not traded, whenever he was released and then signed with the Rams, he wanted the remainder of whatever he was getting last year in crypto.
So I'm sure somebody does that for him, maybe his agent, but I don't believe the Rams or the Browns are giving him crypto money. I think they deal in U.S. dollars, and if you do whatever you want to do. But I haven't heard anything about a team dealing in crypto. Anyway, Trevor Lawrence tweeted in response to this, did y'all confuse my FTX signing bonus with my @NFL one? Carry on. So he's indicating he got FTX money in a deal with FTX that's in crypto.
Which is now valued less, but not the $24 million signing bonus.
But not his NFL bonus, which would be reasonable. If you sign a deal with the crypto company, you would probably be getting the money in crypto.
So there are deals like this throughout. Like the UFC now hands out a 30, whatever the equivalent is of a $30,000 crypto bonus. So whatever that equates to. So that's a fan vote. So whoever can win this, you don't have to win or lose. It's just the most popular vote. So what they thought was like a certain value is now crashing back down to earth. But CoinJournal.net, they have Trevor Lawrence, May 2nd, 2021, had 24 million, they're saying, in Bitcoin, among other cryptocurrencies. And the current value is 62.7% less at 8.96. Meanwhile, Russell Okung, $6.5 million in his salary. That has also been reported that he got his entire salary from Seattle in Bitcoin. It's now worth $2.5 million. Andre Iguodala, January 10th had 2.64 million in Bitcoin. Now it's worth 1.37.
I mean, do these players have agents or
Yeah,
financial
who are
advisors?
these advisors that are telling them to do this?
Well,
as opposed to take this money,
it's not just
invest
them. There
it
are
well,
a ton
and
of
watch
people
it profit.
investing in this. A ton
I know, but
of people.
I would think that someone would say, let's not put everything in this.
Well, that's
Just
Russell
certainly not
Wilson,
everything.
right?
Anything.
I mean, if you want to put 5% in, okay.
Saquon Barkley bought $10 million worth of Bitcoin. It's now worth 6.6.
Oh, really trending the right direction.
But for all
the
for
rest
all
of
I
the
know,
stock
like a month from now, who knows?
Could bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stock. That's how I would view the market of this. How I see a map of it, a graph.
It's volatile.
But I don't get it. And there's no way. And these guys can be way smarter than me. I'm not trying to insinuate this. There's no way at 20 or 21 years old I would have a clue. I mean, I didn't know how to balance a checkbook. It took me the longest time to figure out and do the math on that. Nonetheless, this is something to watch because it's more than just player X wants to get this in salary. A lot of these companies have acquired these mega deals, a 20-year agreement, for instance, with the Lakers and Clippers arena in L.A. as Crypto.com arena is a 20-year, $700 million contract where all of a sudden there's a report that they could back out of this for $385 million.
But
and keep in mind how we still refer to that arena as Staples Center.
And notice
there is value in that arena.
Notice it's a $700 million deal, not a 800 Bitcoin, or I don't know how to translate it, but it's still, these crypto companies are making deals in dollars because we're the United States and we deal in dollars.
Yeah, but I mean, that would be the same if someone were reporting how many euros, I would want that equated in dollars.
Right, but I'm saying the Lakers and the Clippers, when they're getting their money from these companies for their arena sponsorship, they're getting it in dollars.
They may get some of it in crypto. I don't know. I mean, I would say the vast majority, Paul, you're right, is in dollars.
I would bet all of it.
Maybe some is in crypto.
But the NBA specifically has truly, I would say, they've invested in the sponsorship idea of crypto.
Sure.
Because through Front Office Sports, they say that crypto companies jump to the second biggest spenders in the NBA season with 100 to 150 million in sponsorship
Probably
deals.
behind betting.
So that is, they went from 43rd in spending the previous year to second most in sponsorship dollars. So the NBA, today's reports and this whole thing is turning some heads. There are a lot more sponsorships in the NBA and there are other leagues worldwide, but specifically locally, I would look to the NBA as one that's looking around going, is this these guys about to buy their way out of current deals? Is KaVontae Turpin about to turn what was a great season in the USFL into a potential title run with 2 more wins with the New Jersey Generals? And then is he going to end up in an NFL camp based on the production that he's shown in Birmingham? We have the USFL MVP and the New Jersey Generals star. He is with us next on Outkick 360. Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern, semis kick off from Canton, Ohio, where in the first matchup on Fox, the New Jersey Generals take on the Philadelphia Stars, followed by 8 o'clock Eastern on NBC, the Birmingham Stallions and the New Orleans Breakers. The two winners meet for the USFL inaugural season championship. And we have the MVP of the league announced officially today. KaVontae Turpin. Turpin time here on the show. Great to have you on, KaVontae. Hope you're doing well, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we were there, Chad, was this 3 weeks ago now in Birmingham, maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
And we went inside briefly, and up on the screen we watched a punt return for a touchdown. You were playing Michigan, and
yes,
Chad goes, I wonder how often that happens in this league. We look it up. It was, in fact, the one and only punt return for a touchdown. You were known as the all-purpose guy. You're leading the league in receiving yards, all-purpose yards. You've been doing it all just as you did at Baylor.
Yes, sir, man. Just try to keep my head down, man. Just try to play the game how it goes, man. Just trying to show everybody that I'm still that playmaker, still that guy that I once was.
Well, and it's such an opportunity. You know, we were talking with Moose Johnson about this, and he said the number one thing in this league is every single player in the league is trying to play special teams because they know that could be a route to the NFL to show off special team skills. You are a special teams whiz, so I know that was something you wanted to do when you got there. How much do you think that special teams expertise that you have can help you get a chance in the NFL?
I feel like my special teams ability to just as a playmaker, you know, just back there, just being what I could been since I was a young kid, you know. I just feel like, you know, this is what God gave me, you know, and I'm just trying to show the world that, you know, special teams is what I do, but I'm really trying to show everybody that I'm a receiver too, though. I'm a receiver as well.
I know you're hoping you've got 2 games left here, but curious about how the process works. Is your agent is allowed to take calls at this point? Has he taken calls about NFL teams that might be interested in you? And do you think you wind up in a camp coming up?
Well, he called me earlier today, told me that, you know, a couple teams called them. You know, he talked to a couple teams. Well, to me, I'm just trying to get it to a camp. Hopefully I get it to a camp this year, you know, but I'm just trying to let God play a role into everything, you know. So I'm just trying to be patient with the process.
So I realize you're looking to get into a camp. So I don't really know how honest you'll be on this question, but do you feel beat up? I mean, you're 10 games in. You've got probably 2 games left. If you win, you definitely have 2 games left this weekend. Are you feeling about the same as normal this time of year, or like how would you feel physically if you were signed and you went into a camp a month from now?
Well, I say, to be honest, I'll be a little nervous, you know, just going into my first camp. You know, I feel like I'll be still the same guy, but it'll be a little no butterflies in there because, you know, it'll be a once in a lifetime experience, basically. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm basically like letting God take control of every situation, you know.
Well, and look, you've completed now a 10-game regular season, getting ready for the playoffs. You played 12 games in college at TCU. Can you compare the grind between the two? As Hutton was saying about how physically you feel, what is it similar to college? How would you compare this spring-summer football league and going through these 10 games and practices to, let's say, a college season?
I'll say, well, you know, it's more, you know, basically like I'll say in my perspective, I'll say, you know, this is like my 4th season, like in like 2 years. So I played in the FCF, I played in the spring league, I went overseas, played in Europe. Now I'm playing here. I say I'm in my best shape that I was when I was in college. You know, I just feel like I'm just that guy. You know, I just, not to be cocky, I just say I take care of my body well. So I feel like I'm keeping up with this experience. So it's just good to be in this position that I'm in.
And I mentioned earlier Baylor. I was talking with a guy on text here who went to Baylor, so I had Baylor on the mind. You can hate me later for not saying TCU. Did you play with Jeff Gladney? And if so, Can you give perspective on his passing and just what comes to mind when you think of the guy? Because we've only seen him from the highlight reel.
Yeah, me and Jeff, we was close friends. Jeff became my best friend at TCU. So when I first came in, he was the first guy that welcomed me. We was roommates for all my years at TCU. So me and Jeff had a great relationship. It just hurt me to my heart, to my soul, to see one of my best friends just RIP just like that. So it kind of hurt me. But Jeff was a great guy. He had a son. I'll say Jeff lived his life the way that he wanted to. I feel like that was the best thing that was for him. And I hate that he happened like that, but
yeah,
just how the world is.
KaVontae Turpin, our guest, wide receiver kick returner for the New Jersey Generals, only 25 years old. If you don't get the camp option, what is next for you? Beyond just, you'll be back in the USFL, but long term, like what's your play? What do you have in mind?
Well, my long play involved, if I don't have if I don't get a camp, I try to go to the XFL. I'll be back in the USFL. But I love coaching. That's one of my biggest things that I love doing. That's what I do to help the guys up here. In a position, I love coaching. And I feel like that's what my future is. Outside of football, is coaching.
How have coverages of you changed since the start of the season this year as you've gotten going and established that you're one of the best guys in the league, best guy in the league? What have teams done to try to slow you down, and how, I guess, ineffective has it been?
Well, when I go out there, they have a nickel on me. They have a safety over top of me. So I just try to do what Coach Riley do in the game plan, just try to be myself in the game. Don't try to be too hype, be humble as things come. But it's kind of been easy for me. I try to do what I can do to help the team out. So defenses, it make it hard on defense when Coach Riley do what he do in the offensive scheme. So I feel like it's a blessing to come true.
KaVontae Turpin, our guest. The play speaks for itself. I think coming in, you'd be in the league if not for the off-the-field incident and the pleading guilty to domestic violence. You were off the team at TCU. That's well documented. Are you ready to talk with teams and explain that you're changed? That everything that has been asked of you is out there in the open. What are you expecting with that process?
With that process, I'm just. It happened 3 years ago, so I'm ready to, tell their scouts, tell everybody, what's the real about the situation. I don't regret it, So let God let God do what He do.
How many leagues is this for you now since college?
Since college, I say this is my fourth league.
And one of them was the fan-controlled football league. I believe so. What is that like, where fans are actually calling plays?
I'll say, it was a great experience, but I'll say it's like a big old video game to me. That's how it was. It was like a video game, But it was a great experience, just playing indoor. That's my first time playing indoor football. But it was like a big video game, to how I can explain it.
We had a chance to talk with Mike Riley, your head coach, a couple of weeks ago when we were down in Birmingham. He's an interesting guy who's been a little bit of everywhere, and it's clear just talking to him, this guy just loves ball. I mean, he loves to coach. Yeah. He'll coach anywhere. What's it been like playing for him and learning under him?
Man, I love Mike Riley, man. I'll say Mike Riley, one of the best coaches that I ever been around, just how he be with the guys, how he be when his family comes, you learn so much from Mike, and I love him to death. Like he's one of the best coaches I ever been around.
By the way, he's the coach of the year. We're talking to the MVP for the Generals, and then the offensive player of the year is Darius Vito, who we had on the show, Chad.
Who had some great Netflix recommendations for us when we were there. I need to get on some of those shows he was talking about.
How's that trophy looking, the MVP trophy? And does it come with anything else? You get a parking spot or pizza?
Yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. They haven't showed it to me yet.
It better come with a nice MVP trophy. who knows? Maybe you get something more than the trophy for the hardware at the house.
We know Nancy with the USFL well, and I bet she's someone behind the trophy. So we'll get with her and make sure we get that you get that trophy soon.
Yes, sir. I need that.
Hey, how excited are you for the postseason this week and the chance to play for the title?
I'm very excited. You know, it's been a while since I played for a championship, so I'm looking forward. But I'm just trying to take it one day at a time. You know, tell the teammates, tell them, man, just take it 1 week at a time. How we've been doing, you know, one win at a time. And I feel like we'll go out there and we'll get the fans what they've been looking for.
People compare you to Tyreek Hill. Have you met Tyreek Hill?
No, sir. I never met him. I'm looking forward to meeting him, but I never met him. But I'm looking forward to it soon.
The speed is legit, and it's not just the size; it's the speed combo. Is why KaVontae gets the comparison. Last I saw, you were clocked at 4.31. How fast have you actually ran a 40?
My fastest 40 was a 4.28. That was my fastest I ever went.
CJ 2K speed, Paul.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Pretty good.
Hey, best of luck to you this weekend. We'll be watching for sure, and hopefully we get the chance to do this in person soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, there's KaVontae Turpin. Turpin time.
Nice guy.
On the USFL.
Now
New Jersey Generals. He's one of a handful of guys, Paul, that has a legitimate chance to end up in an NFL camp. Now, when I want to preface this. When I say camp, it's a 90-man roster.
Yeah.
But there are a handful of players from all of these 8 teams, and he is among the 3 or 4 always named as a guy that an NFL team will give a shot to in the preseason.
Well, speedy receiver who can punt return.
Well, and then
you're going to want to give a look to.
Yes, and if he's willing to sit down and explain the off-the-field incident in Waco, or at the time he was enrolled in school, not in Waco, at TCU, I would point to the fact he will be in a camp if he's able to explain that. And people feel as though he's much different now as opposed to then, and he certainly knows that as well, and it is talked with that. Coming up, I want to get into Jamie Erdahl as now on Good Morning Football instead of Kay Adams. We'll get to what's going to happen with all that.
Do you guys like or dislike the way that Rory McIlroy has suddenly become the voice of the PGA Tour against the LIV Tour? Because he has become the mouthpiece that reporters go to because they know he's going to give them an honest quote. The latest honest quote was when he was asked about Brooks Koepka leaving and if he was surprised. And he said, "Am I surprised? Yes, because of everything he said previously. I think that's why I'm surprised a lot of these guys left, because they say one thing and they do another. And I don't understand that. And I don't know if that's for legal reasons or if they can't. I have no idea. But it's pretty duplicitous on their part to say one thing and then do another." Then he was asked to clarify, are you talking about what Brooks Koepka said in February and March, which was about him not, having any interest in leaving the PGA Tour? And he goes on to say the whole way through, in public and private to me, all of it doesn't make sense.
I love him as the spokesman. I mean, he's perfectly candid, and he is got his flag planted with the PGA. I think he's doing outstanding work. I wish more guys would follow him so he didn't have to be singular at it.
And Koepka, by the way, the comments he's talking about back in February, he said, well, everyone talks about the money. They've got enough of it, talking about LIV Tour. I don't see it backing down. They can just double up the offers, and then they'll figure it out, and LIV will get their guys. Somebody will sell out and go to it, is what he said. Sell out and go to it. Well, now he's become one of those guys.
And they've now acknowledged as a tour the threat, the financial threat of the LIV Tour, both through their comments and through increased purses of at least $20 million for big events. They have the PGA's upcoming Travelers Championship as a total purse of $8.3 million, for instance. They've increased the purses to at least $20 million. 3 added events with no cuts and a $25 million purse on those events. So you're guaranteed to place in the finish there. And a calendar year schedule, which would mean more time off for golfers. They want more of an off season. This is the PGA taking a look at what the complaints are, and if they're not able to monetarily meet certain demands, they're adding to it, which is of course, raising the question, where's the money all of a sudden coming from?
And he said, "Oh, we had it.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Jay
was
Monahan was
planned.
saying-
This was planned.
Yeah, this was planned for a while.
Reactionary.
I will say
Rainy day fun. We had a little rainy day fun that we could go to.
It's it's a very similar situation to what I wish would happen with the NCAA. And here, in regards to your question about McElroy, it is a brilliant business move on his behalf to step up and be the voice for the PGA, because now everyone's going to him. He is the face of the tour, but Spieth is not the face of the tour. It is Rory McIlroy. I want that on behalf of the NCAA, like the leader of the NCAA. I want a face and a leader to emerge. McIlroy's that guy. It's a brilliant move on that stance because he believes what he's saying and he's willing to name names. So in that regard, I do think he's being very genuine and forthright, truthful. But at the same time, he's going to make millions off of this.
Hard to be a parallel, though, in the NCAA in that it can't be a player, really.
No,
So you're
but a
looking for
leader.
coach
I'm saying someone step forward,
commissioner.
right?
I thought what you were going to say, Hutton, is that you want this for the NCAA and that you want foreign influence to better the situation for NCAA athletes.
Well, that
And
it
raise
would
the price
take.
for
It doesn't
them.
have to be a foreign influence. It would take another monetary influence for it to work.
Because we can question the motivation, which is easy to question with Phil Mickelson and why he initially got into it. It was about the money, and he was in some financial problems. But things that he said has proven true. This
yes.
will help all of golf because it will get the PGA Tour off dead center on what we're trying to get them to move on and do some things that will better golf overall for young players and for everyone.
But was he looking
He's
to
right about
benefit
that.
things for everybody else, or
No,
was he looking
again,
to benefit things for himself?
We can talk about the motivation behind it, but his prediction is right. I don't think he got into this originally from some altruistic point of view of I'm going to improve the game for kids. Absolutely not. But he's also a smart guy, and I think that he knew if they got enough big names, this is what will threaten the PGA enough to do the things that I've been wanting them to do for years. Up the purses.
But he didn't.
Maybe widen the offseason for the term. Maybe give more rights to players that he's been asking for.
And let's not add to his initial quote because the initial mention from Shipnuck in the book, he doesn't mention in bettering the game of golf for kids. He says changing the PGA system. This is the one opportunity, real opportunity to change the way the PGA operates. And he lists all the factors of why he shouldn't do it. And then he says at the end, this is the one opportunity. And it has changed. Like they are actually, like publicly stating that, let me be clear, I'm not naive. And he mentions, Jay Monahan mentions the Live Golf Invitational Series as an irrational threat because of the money backing this tour. And now they've raised the prices, the payouts, not the prices, the payouts. And again, I think it's a funny question to ask. All of us, like, where'd the money come from? Meanwhile, all the majors are welcoming these guys. It was announced today, by the way, because it had not been officially official. The Open will allow players on the LIV Tour to participate at St. Andrews.
Where the money comes from. They're dropping down from 16% money going to charity to 12%.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But they remain a 501c3.
Yeah.
Coming up, Paul's take on the blowouts in the recent pro sports playoffs. And we discuss Good Morning Football hosts. We discuss Thursday Night Football hosts and the name we haven't heard but expected to hear. That's next on Outkick 360. Outkick 360 rolls on Wednesday edition. Paul, what can we find at Outkick.com today?
Well, we've talked some about how there aren't enough close games. And 9 games played in the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. One good game, one close game, a 1-goal overtime game between Colorado and Tampa Bay in the Stanley Cup Final. You want to take a stab at what the second closest game has been?
One of the finals games was single digits, I feel like. No?
None of the finals games were single
Really?
digits. There were 2 10-point games. Average margin of victory in the NBA Finals was 13.3 points. The second closest game was Monday night, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, a 4-goal game. So Game 4 tonight. But the average margin of victory, 4 goals in the Stanley Cup, 13.3. I'm in it for close games, particularly when I don't have a rooting interest, and I don't have a rooting interest in these. It's a problem. I flipped away Monday night to a new show on Amazon Prime, The Summer I Became Pretty, teen rom-com kind of thing. Good news for the NHL. That wasn't good either.
Oh, man. Is this, what's the one that we got into, Paul? The Kissing Booth? Is this better or worse than Kissing Booth?
Oh, Kissing Booth, the first one.
They've made
great.
like 4 Kissing Booth movies.
Yeah.
The first one, not the sequel.
The second one wasn't as good. Third one I didn't watch. It got such bad reviews.
I need to watch the third one. I've seen the first and second one. First one was good. This
is what I was looking for.
I've seen this pop up on Amazon, and this is not one I'll be watching. The Summer I Became Pretty.
Yeah.
That's not one I'm going to tune into.
I had high hopes. And I'm not saying I'm not going to watch the second episode if I'm desperate for something.
Says it's not good, but second episode, bring it on.
Well, I'm
Who stars in
I'm
it?
in the
nobody I've ever seen.
I'm in the
before.
process right now of getting ready for Westworld's return for season 4. And I was in the studio the other day. I was watching a trailer for it, and I just stopped it halfway through, and I looked up to you guys. I'm thinking about I was listening to me. Maybe Corey was. And I said, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
on the show, I'm
I don't
watching.
know how you ever knew what the hell was going on.
It looks beautiful.
The first season's
There's
really
beautiful actors and actresses in it. It's very stylish the way it's shot. The first season was great. Second season got worse. The third season was a train wreck from a narrative standpoint. I mean, it was so difficult to follow when Aaron Paul joined the show.
Tried too hard, right?
Tried too hard. It got better with the last episode with a couple things, but it's one of those shows. Best way I can describe it is it's difficult to get invested in characters on a show when there's not really any life or death on the show. Because everyone can be killed and come back as a robot or come back as a host or their personality could be in someone else. So it's like a Marvel movie. Like no one's ever really truly dead.
And at least in season 1, you're trying to figure it out. Right?
Yes. So I'm gonna watch season 4, start Sunday night, and give it a shot. I'm listening to a podcast right now to like give me the quick explainer for everything that's happened in the show and what to expect. But man, it's difficult to follow along with a show like that. I'm guessing the plot for The Summer I Became Pretty is easier to follow than Westworld. Am I right, Paul?
Yeah, it's carefree and
easier to follow.
Yeah, I don't want to have a map for my TV watching, generally speaking. Go read about the close game.
Well, the first season of Westworld was great because there was really one big reveal. You kind of knew what was going on most of the season, but it's revealed that it's 2 different timelines. You're watching a different part of it, right? And that was the big reveal, but it was cool because, that is this character. You kind of suspected it might be this person younger with Ed Harris in it, and then it was, and it was really cool with that reveal. Second season tried to do too many of those. Third season, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm still going to watch. Paul, one show that we love right now is For All Mankind on Apple TV. That to me is the new. It's both science fiction, but not really. But it's kind of the drama that I have in my life.
And each season opens with a montage of headlines and news tidbits, and it mixes Hutton some truth and some adjusted history. So Michael Jordan got drafted by the Trailblazers. And some stuff.
Well, Ronald Reagan became president in 1976, right, and then lost in 1980. So it said all these other things happening
to Gary Hart.
The whole
Gary
whole
Hart's
premise
president
is the Russians beat us to the moon.
Starts with
the Soviets did, and then it starts with that season, and it jumps 10 years, and it's everything that happens with the space race. And how it gets sped up simply because America lost the initial race.
So it's
a race to get everywhere else quicker.
Faster.
After that. So now it's in It starts in the 60s. It's in 1992 on this season of the show right now. It's terrific. Highly recommend.
We thought there would be a race to hire Kay Adams. Amazon was the predicted employer that would go hire her for Thursday Night Football. She left Good Morning Football. Jamie Erdahl goes from the SEC sideline to now the full-time host and Kay Adams' replacement on Good Morning Football. Thursday Night Football has gone, and this is reported last week, I think, but Carissa Thompson ends up on Thursday Night Football, and Kay Adams has not been reported anywhere.
And which chair is left in musical chairs? I don't know.
I guess they could make one, right?
But Carissa Thompson, she could get Carissa Thompson's job at Fox.
And it was, I remember as early or as recent as the Super Bowl, the thought was Rachel Bonnetta was going to take her spot because Rachel Bonnetta filled in for Kay Adams on the NFL Network Super Bowl pregame show.
Well, they had, though after Kay, or like when Kay was in limbo and as she left, they rotated a couple people through that. I think Jamie Erdahl is more experienced, polished, and will do a better job than Rachel Bonnetta would have done. I think Rachel Bonnetta is talented, but I don't know that she's got the gravitas that Jamie Erdahl will have. And I think she'll be good. And I think Carissa Thompson's excellent, and she'll be good. But I think Kay Adams is really good, and I'm surprised she is going to wind up with a more minimalistic role wherever she is because there's no big job left unless there's something new coming somewhere.
So Carissa Thompson hosted the Fox pregame NFL show to the big pregame show.
Yes.
Right? She was on the show with Michael Vick and Tony Gonzalez.
Yep.
It was like an earlier show that led into the
and then
big
did some
Fox
features
pregame show.
on the big Fox pregame show.
Yeah, and then she would be a part of it
highlights
also.
At some point.
Yeah, she would do some things with all the Fox coverage with NFL, but it was really she was the studio host
of the
pregame show to the pregame show. So maybe Kay Adams could fill that spot, like you mentioned.
That's a big come down in terms of visibility.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, Kay Adams was a shooting star. Kay Adams is a big star to me. She was huge on that show. People loved her.
Yeah, I mean, there was
leaving for something smaller like that doesn't make much sense.
A contractual thing, I guess. I don't know. It expired
or maybe
right
she's
around the
off
Super
the
Bowl.
NFL, and maybe she's going to go do something sports or entertainment.
Maybe.
There's a lot of opportunity out there with all these streaming services and everything going on, but there's also such a broader sense of what a show looks like and what you can do that I think when you bounce around and start doing something different, you find that it doesn't work. Some people are just cut out to be the studio host of a show. When they try to do something else, they find out that doesn't work. We'll see with her. I think she's talented and could do some different things, but we'll find out eventually. Good move for Carissa Thompson. For Amazon.
Yeah.
I think she's very, very good. I've always enjoyed her work wherever she's been.
Agree.
And best of luck to Jamie Erdahl. Best of luck to Kay. I hope we end up keeping her around in football in some capacity. I hope someone is able to find a role for her. Big role tomorrow on the show. Hope you'll join us for Outkick 360 across the Outkick Network.
Don't block the box and do like your locks.